what we need to celebrate. Life is full of celebration. And that celebration comes by knowing our true nature, which is full of peace and happiness, love and wisdom. We have been doing the same thing again and again, seeking the pleasure outside. The pleasure is short lived, it goes away, and we return again. We are running, running, and running in our life. So, this journey is about how to celebrate the entire life. That is our goal. And the Eastern wisdom is an instrument of knowledge, aims at discovery of our true nature. Simple way of saying is that as long as the mind is working on us, we will not be able to celebrate the entire life. When we are working on the mind, we can celebrate every moment in peace and happiness, love and wisdom. So let us know a little bit more about the mind. Mind is an instrument that celebrates any event in life, and mind is the same instrument by which we can celebrate the entire life. So mind is structurally one, and it has four functions.
Here's the latest news.
It
From
has
CNN News Briefing at 2:50.
it has four functions: the mind and the memory, and the intellect and the ego. Intellect is making a choice by looking within, or is dictated by the mind because of its habit, wandering nature. You'll be surprised that our mind lives in 10 different states. 5 are subjective states, which are known as mudha, the one, forgetfulness, the wandering nature, the chipta, the obsession, the vikshipta, ekagra, the one-pointedness, and emptiness. You have heard mindfulness is nothingness and emptiness. And then we start fighting with the mind. Let me get rid of all the thoughts. That is not possible. So, as long as the mind is lazy, crazy, obsessed, the mind will continue to dominate the intellect, and that wisdom, that clarity will not come. That is why we say, discipline and educate the mind. Aspire, let the mind aspire for the right knowledge. Why the right knowledge? And knowledge about? Knowledge about who I am, what is my true nature. But until this mind and the intellect lives in that right knowledge, we cannot have a right desire. And if we have the wrong desire, it will prompt me to wrong action. That is why the Master says, Janati, Ichhati, Karoti. First, right knowledge. Second, right desire. Third, right action. These are the three powers of the mind. What we think, we become. Our great Master Krishna says, what we think either comes from the wrong or the right notions. See that? What we think is not always right. So what we think, either it comes from my wrong notion or right understanding. And the principles laid down in Gita, in Yoga Sutra, and in different texts passed on to us by the great masters, it helps the mind to drop the wrong notion, so that the mind shines with the wisdom coming from the intellect. So we have the right notion, right knowledge, and that prompts the right desire. Whatever we want to do, we ultimately want some result, not simply a talk. So if we have a right knowledge, the right notion, the right understanding, the mind will naturally move towards the right desire. What is right desire? Simple way of understanding. Find out, make a list of all the desires and check. Is it binding desire, that is binding you in your life, that makes you always running, getting excited, getting hesitated, getting stressed? In any activity, that is a binding desire. So what is happening to the binding desire? You are running. Every time you are fatigued and tired, sleep is disturbed, relationship is not good. Look at it. It is very easy to understand. So it comes from the wrong knowledge. So, right knowledge, right desire, right action. Avidya, Kam, Karma, Trio. Avidya, ignorance, or you can say incomplete knowledge, leads to Kama. Kama is desire, but here we understand it leads to wrong desire. So, incomplete knowledge leads to wrong desire and prompts me to wrong action in life. That is why I am excited. That is why I feel stressed. That is why I don't sleep better. So we are going to open and explain those steps which will help us not only to have a right desire, to have a right knowledge, and there are steps explained in the Eastern wisdom. It does not mean that, I have created those principles. Any desire, any thought, which is governed by likes and dislikes, habits and conditionings, becomes the binding desire. Why don't you listen to me? So, it's a binding desire. Whether I make this statement to my spouse or to my children or to the employees in the office, take one example. It comes out of the wrong notion. Now, what is right? First, I understand, and then I see that I have to express what is right in a way that gives me clarity and the peace of mind, and that also gives peace of mind to others. We will open up and we will go detail into this. But understand one thing, that when this wrong notion in the thinking and false notion is governed and dictated by the likes and dislikes, pain and the pleasure, sorrow and the happiness are the binding desire. They causes the vasana, the impression in my mind. What is that impression? And they get accumulated, and that shapes my personality. That causes the lot of stress and uh, that causes the lot of stress and suffering in my life. You see that I write something here on the front of the page, and the back, when I see it, I find there are some impressions. I may not be able to read it clearly. That is what happens to the mind. Mind is like a notebook page. Whatever I write in the front, it creates an impression in the back. And those impressions are accumulated. For example, you become angry over me. You are right 100%. But that anger has created an impression on the back of the mind. And that is accumulated, accumulated, accumulated. That is known as the vasanas. So, what is the learning in this lesson? Does the vasana dictate and govern my life, or right knowledge? And it's a journey. So, if the vasana governs my life, so it shapes the attitude, my personality, which includes anger and anxiety and duality and a conflict. There are good vasanas also. Great masters, since their childhood, had the good vasanas. So their entire life moved towards righteousness, sadhana practice, to evolve themselves. Be in peace and keep smiling.